talking about just the current state in terms of being in a lockdown situation and how our training and nutrition's changed lately. And the first thing I wanted to ask you was about training at home with limited equipment. What are the challenges that you have faced in that situation with, what equipment you can use and the space that you have to train in?
So, yeah, it's very relevant to what a lot of people are going through. I may be different to a lot of those people simply because I have very specific bodybuilding. Like, my main passion is bodybuilding, so not many people share that passion. I have very specific goals of what I want to look like, what my body composition needs to be. So what I've had to do probably will differ a lot compared to someone who just wants to train, wants to move, wants to feel better about themselves, wants to look a little bit better naked. But me specifically, as soon as I found out that the gyms were closing, it was a bit of a challenge, like, mentally, because it is my kind of, it's my favorite part of the day, or one of my favorite parts of the day. Going to the gym, relieving stress, kind of getting that aggression out, and knowing that I'm progressing towards that specific goal that I have in mind. Yeah. So when I found out that the gyms were closing, it really did get my brain firing of, do I either, like, kind of defeat myself? Do I accept the fact that I'm not going to be able to train in the perfect situation, perfect scenarios, or do I just do what I can and then slowly inch forward each and every day to that goal? Yeah. So obviously I've taken the second option. I have very limited equipment, but still enough. So I have a classic York barbell set that you can probably, well, you would have been able to get on Argos for like 40 quid. So I'm able to do enough, and kind of given my background in my education, I'm able to think of, like, kind of, intuitive is probably the wrong word, but like, just good enough ways to elicit a response that I want from my body, which is to gain size, I guess. But again, not many people have that. I see that as a luxury. So other than the equipment, I do it in my garage, and it's not an open garage. I probably have about 5 feet in length and maybe 3 feet in width of space. So I am limited in space, but I'm still making that work. There's always an option to make exercise and training a part of your daily life. It's just putting your mind to it, putting a bit of a thought process into that, and figuring out how it's going to work.
Yeah, I'll admit I've had that sort of same challenges myself. I didn't realise before this how difficult it was going to be with the training setup. At the moment, all I really possess is a 12 kilo kettlebell and a resistance band that I broke the first time I did a session. So I've been a bit limited in terms of what I've been able to do. So it's mostly been body weight training or just keeping top of what I've been doing in terms of strength exercises, probably focusing more on sort of repetitions. So the repetitions have been a lot more higher and more focused on dominant, like, probably body parts with my own training, if I'm going to give my input of how I've been able to keep going. My own concerns with myself was being able to maintain sort of my strength and muscle mass during this period of not having that sort of resistance with any weights or stuff like that. I don't know what your take is on that.
So maintaining strength's a funny one, because your absolute strength will go down, simply because if you barbell back squat and you develop strength in that movement, you can no longer barbell back squat with a 12 kilogram kettlebell. So your movement proficiency will go down, so that will decrease your strength. But that doesn't mean that you've got, like, truly weaker or you've lost size. Like, without sounding too boring, the science on maintaining muscle mass is very favorable for times like this. It takes very little stimulus to maintain the tissue that we have in our body. like very, very little. So like I got that question quite a few times over on Instagram when people saw me training. It was like, I only have this. They'd list their equipment list, and it was very, very like a very short list. And I said, you know what, just do what you can. If it's 10 sets of squats with a 12 kettlebell, 12 kilogram kettlebell, that will always trump not doing those 10 sets. And when we do eventually come out of this, because we will, hopefully, the people who, hopefully, the people that have kept training in the subpar conditions will be ahead of the people that have just gone, you know what, it's not worth my time. I don't have access to all the machines. I don't have access to the barbells, the dumbbells. It's not good enough for me. I'm too advanced for this type of training. Nobody's too advanced for any kind of training. It will help you so much just to do something, whatever it may be, and you'll maintain your strength so much more, your muscle mass so much more, your mental health so much more. Yeah, then once this is all over, once you've gone through this process, you'll be more mentally resilient, and you'll also be in a much better place to kind of catapult yourself into more progress once the gym's reopened.
Yeah. Another question I wanted to follow on with is just a bit about introducing any new training methods. So obviously, I know we live literally across the road from one another, and I've seen your videos online and seen that you've been training in the garage. What sort of new training methods that you've had to reintroduce in that period?
So yeah, I've just, again, because of my specific goals, I need to train in a more specific way to achieve those goals. So for me personally, it was kind of maintaining volume levels. So kind of I just count volume as hard sets and maintaining the kind of relative intensity. So I guess how close a muscle is to failure. So obviously, if I've gone from a bench press of 90 kilograms for sets of 8, I cannot do that with my York 40 quid adjustable dumbbell set. So what I've had to do is, like what you said earlier, introduce a lot higher rep sets and just do more sets overall to try and kind of accommodate for that drop in absolute weight on the bar. So I've increased my volume by roughly like 20% to give a number on it. And I've also introduced like kind of intensity techniques, drop sets, rest pauses, supersets. One thing that I really enjoy is Myo reps, which is just a fancy term for like a very long extended set. Again, it's just finding those specific ways that, like, with whatever equipment what you have, how do you make that harder or hard enough? So if you just have a band, doing banded Bulgarian split squats to absolute failure, your legs are going to be dead the next day. They're going to be absolutely wrecked. You might not feel the same, whereas if you was doing a heavy leg press or a heavy squat, but you are still driving a stimulus to that muscle, and that stimulus will maintain that muscle. So yeah, just finding ways to make whatever you have available to you as hard as it needs to be.